But we're just thankful that the car's here in one piece and she's okay, and we at least got to go up there and race a little bit today.
A week of tough breaks for the Muldowney camp, but they can take great pride in their effort nonetheless. At the U.S. Nationals at Indianapolis Raceway Park, we're getting ready for funny car competition. Don't go away. The 29th annual U.S. Nationals Drag Racing Championships at spacious Indianapolis Raceway Park. And on the track, the crowd-pleasing fiberglass-bodied funny cars. In the far lane, the team of Candies and Hughes with Mark Oswald, their driver. And in the near lane is Kenny Bernstein. From Dallas, Texas comes Kenny Bernstein. He's been having some real problems as of late. But Mark Oswald, who's driving for one of the best teams in the business, the Louisiana-based Candies and Hughes, has got a great ride. The brilliant blue funny car, a replica of a Pontiac Trans Am with a nitro-burning 2,500 horsepower engine, while in the Bernstein camp, again, one of those nitro-burning engines, but a Mercury LN7 fiberglass body. Bernstein has been on quite a tear lately. He has had a very up and down season, but if you ever hear of anybody breaking out of a slump, Bernstein has done it. He won the recent North Star Nationals, then won the completion of the Big Bud Shootout, which paid him $50,000 cash. And now here he is in round number 2 against Mark Oswald at the U.S. Nationals, striving for another championship. Both drivers now approaching the line where the concentration is all so important. The start is everything, and it is Bernstein out first. But Oswald hot on his heels. They enter the speed trap side by side. Bernstein wins the race, but ladies and gentlemen, the fastest time ever for a funny car. Mark Oswald just ran over 257 miles an hour and lost the race. The start, as I said, is everything. Watch very closely. You can see Bernstein leave just ahead of Mark Oswald. He did not get a red light. It was a good start. Both cars, the tires grasping at the pavement, trying to get the traction to put them into the finish line area first. Now watch this as they approach the first light of the speed trap. They are side by side. Then Bernstein just pulls it out. A couple of feet difference at the finish line. Kenny Bernstein wins it.
Kenny Bernstein's crew is going to be very, very proud of him when they get down here, because even though he ran about 0.05 of a second slower, he beats Mark Oswald. Beautiful driving, Kenny.
Oh, thank you. I really thought I red lighted. In fact, I did one of those on the throttle where you go, I mean, I just really almost screwed up, and it shook and everything, and I'm lucky.
You know, this morning I was calling you the world's fastest funny car driver. I have to go call Mark Oswald that now. He just ran 257 trying to catch you.
Did he really? Well, congratulations to Paul and Mark and my friends, because anybody runs 257, that's super.
The next pair of cars started at the starting line and into the water, designed to allow the tires to start spinning. Then that smoke you see coming off the tires actually burning the rubber across the starting line. The body goes down over the 2,500 horsepower plus and tubular chassis of Billy Meyer, the defending champion. He's driving a Pontiac Trans Am bodied replica in this funny car category. Billy Meyer took about a month and a half off. His crew returned to his Waco, Texas home, and they said, we have got to get our act together before the Nationals. He did no racing for almost a month and a half and came in here and qualified in the number 2 position. Meantime, a tough loss for Mark Oswald. Let's see if we can find out what happened.
Anything happen on the starting line to maybe cause you to lose your concentration a little bit? Anything go wrong?
I kind of looked down, and when I looked back up, he was staged already, and I just kind of lost my concentration, you know. And he got a good light, so that was that.
Look down at what?
I just looked down at the oil pressure or something. I don't even know what I looked at. I just lost my concentration for a second. When I looked up, both his lights were on, and it surprised me, you know, and just got lost.
For your first season in a funny car, you've done awful well, and our congratulations on a terrific year for you guys.
Thank you, Steve.
Mark Oswald, the world's fastest funny car racer at over 257 miles an hour. On the starting line, John Force from Fullerton, California, a touring racing professional, is taking on the defending champion from Waco, Texas, Billy Meyer. Billy started his career at the age of 16. He has never driven anything but a funny car. And look, there's problems with the Billy Meyer car. The crew raising the fiberglass body to gain access to the engine. Billy is sitting behind the engine. It's still running, and we don't see anything coming out of it. but there's obviously something wrong. A very animated Billy Meyer trying to point and relay with hand signals. Something's wrong with that racing engine. The crew looking over the fuel lines. The supercharger, of course, sitting on top of the engine. John Force patiently talking to his crew, or at least nodding. The body's going back down. Starter Buster Couch checks it to make sure it's A-OK and hooked at the front. And Billy Meyer, your number 2 qualifier, has got problems. If Mark Oswald lost his concentration by looking at his oil pressure, think what Billy Meyer's going through right now. He smokes the tires off the line. John Force, a little loss of traction, but he recovers quickly. And John Force wins the race, 5.90 seconds at a speed over 236 miles an hour. But the number 2 qualifier, Billy Meyer, even in defeat, has proven something to himself and to his crew that they are on the road back. The defending champion going out here in the second round of racing at the U.S. Nationals at Indianapolis Raceway Park. The funny cars, the true crowd pleasers as our next pair. The engine's already started and the tires are smoking. Let's go down and talk to John Force.
Well, John Force powers his way past Billy Meyer and into the semifinals. Good weekend for you so far, John.
Well, I think it hurt itself there. I heard some noises. It wasn't a rod or nothing, but a valve broke or something, or a push rod or a spring or something. But yeah, Myers had trouble up there, and it just gave me a little time, to do a little thinking about that tree. I think, Steve, that tree's my biggest enemy. It scares me more than any racer I've ever raced, more than Prudhomme, more than McEwen. But I got me a little friendly deal going. If that tree will just hang on a little bit better, we'll share the money here.
Well, John Force has had his share of problems with the Christmas tree. Either he's too early in red lights or he's too late and the competition wins. But he seems right on target at this 29th annual U.S. Nationals. Another racer that's right on target is the driver of the Mercury LN7 bodied car, Tom Anderson. The team of Alan Aronek and Jim Ouimet have a great driver in the Macedon, New York-based Tom Anderson. He'll be racing against another East Coast stalwart, Al Segrini from southeastern Massachusetts, who in the first round of competition drew the toughest nitro racer of them all, Don the Snake Prudhomme. Prudhomme from Granada Hills, California, has won more national titles at the wheel of a nitro-burning funny car or dragster in the history of the sport, and what a race it was. As Don Prudhomme with the lead, and then a small fire, the engine lets go. Segrini burned some pistons and won the race at 5.97 seconds, and Prudhomme went out in round number 1. As we watch again, the two cars are just like they're locked together when they leave the starting line. Don Prudhomme and Al Segrini. Prudhomme losing traction just a little bit. And now as they near the timing traps, the smoke starting to come out of the right-hand side of Prudhomme's car, and then the fire erupts, and Segrini sneaks by with a 5.97 to Prudhomme's losing 5.96 seconds. So Segrini, with that win, advances to the second round. He is in the far lane of the racetrack. He is against Tom Anderson, who is approaching the starting line in the near lane. You may remember Tom Anderson from Diamond V Sports coverage of the recent Gator Nationals, when he exploded an engine into a ball of fire, but yet repaired the car and came back and made it to the semifinals of the Gator Nationals. But that's all behind him now. On the starting line, his opponent is Al Segrini, one of the toughest in the business. Segrini goes up in smoke. Tom Anderson streaks for the finish line, and Segrini is out of the race, losing the traction, giving the win to Tom Anderson at 6.09 seconds. His speed over 241 miles an hour, and if you're going to fall off the pace a little bit, the time to do it is when your competition goes up in smoke. The next pair of cars include the reigning world champion, Frank Hawley, driving the famed Chi-Town Hustler against the feared Blue Max of Raymond Beadle. Beadle used the last qualifying attempt available to him just to make this program. There have been some who say that his expansion into a NASCAR team and into a sprint car team has hurt his drag racing efforts, but his qualifying time reflects that the Blue Max is back and with a vengeance. When you couple his recent win at the NHRA Spring Nationals and his qualifying effort here, Raymond Beadle's drag racing effort is coming right up to par with the entire Blue Max operation. Frank Hawley, the Canadian driver, won the first 3 national events in a row this season, and he has a leg up and is leading the points chase this year for that world champion title. Raymond Beadle is familiar with the World Championship. He won it 3 years in a row. At the U.S. Nationals, the Blue Max in the near lane, the Chi-Town Hustler in the far lane. Absolutely the best race cars and drivers assembled here for the 29th annual running of the world's largest drag race. A great start for Hawley, and Beadle is right with him. As they go down the track, it is just a matter of a car length, and Raymond Beadle and the Blue Max wins it with a 5.91 second, somewhat slower than his earlier 580s, but good enough to put him into the semifinals against Kenny Bernstein. Tom Anderson races John Force at the U.S. Nationals. The National Hot Rod Association U.S. Nationals at Indianapolis Raceway Park. And there have been some new improvements made here to this impressive facility.
Back in the early 60s, when the U.S. Nationals first came to IRP, that old tower over there was brand new and considered the finest around. This year, out of necessity, it's been replaced by the magnificent 4-story building behind me at a cost of some $400,000. The ground floor houses the Raceway administration offices. The second floor, the race control, public address, timing, scoring, and also a completely equipped press room. The top 2 floors are luxurious VIP suites for important corporate sponsors, and the top is just an ideal vantage point on the observation deck. I guarantee you, this one is the finest around.
In a ceremony earlier today and a surprise announcement, Wally and Barbara Parks were honored as the new tower facility was dedicated as Parks Tower at IRP. Wally Parks, back in the early 50s, conceiving, creating, and founding the National Hot Rod Association. NHRA, the sanctioning body for this U.S. Nationals, has a number of different eliminator categories, and the sportsman racing that was conducted here at the U.S. Nationals saw in stock eliminator Mark Wilson of Waldo, Florida, against Sammy Pizzolato of Houma, Louisiana. Pizzolato with a red light, Mark Wilson, your stock eliminator champ. In super stock eliminator, Fred Neal in the near lane and Jimmy Bridges in the far lane. A red light for Jimmy Bridges, the automatic win for Fred Neal. Super Gas saw Iggy Bochesco from Philadelphia in the near lane. Red light away his chances to Bob Howland Jr. And in competition, another red light decided it. Sonny Ray on the losing side of the bracket. Gary Wenzel, the competition eliminator champion. In top alcohol funny car, it was a single as Hank Johnson of Washington State, unable to race Vern Motes in the final. And in top alcohol dragster, a second-generation drag racer named Darrell Gwynn took the measure of Don DeVault to take home the top alcohol dragster category. In the funny bike category, Charlie Israel in the near lane saw George Price III red light away his chances. Israel is the winner. And in the top fuel bike, an exciting finale between Elmer Trett in the near lane and Terry Vance in the far lane. It was Elmer Trett earlier in this competition that recorded the first official 200-mile-an-hour run by a fuel motorcycle as he topped 201 miles an hour in competition. For Terry Vance, a trouble-plagued final run. You see spurts of fire coming out of his engine, just below his knees, in fact, as Elmer Trett heads on to the finish line and wins the fuel bike category. Our congratulations to all of the champions at the U.S. Nationals. Darrell Gwynn, Vern Motes, Gary Wenzel, and Bob Howland. And in the remaining categories, Fred Neal, Mark Wilson, Elmer Trett, and Charles Israel, winners at the U.S. Nationals Sportsman Racing. We're set now for the semifinal round of Pro Stock. These are called the factory hot rods. There are some limitations on them, but they present to the audience the classic Battle of the Makes. The Ford Thunderbird of Bob Glidden warming his tires as he comes out of the water and heads toward the starting line. Glidden has had a very slow start this season, but the Thunderbird of the Glidden clan is coming back into its own, winner of the last 2 NHRA national events. He'll be racing the man that comes into this event leading the points chase for the World Championship, Frank Iaconio in the far lane, driving the potent Chevrolet Camaro. The car is very evenly matched. 500 cubic inch engines, 2 4-barrel carburetors, running on gasoline. Iaconio is staged. Glidden is waiting momentarily. There could be a bit of a psychological battle. Now Glidden inches forward, and it's a good start for both cars. Very evenly matched as they head toward the finish line. It looks like Iaconio pulling ahead, but Glidden pulls it out. A great run for Bob Glidden and a tremendous win. 7:74 is elapsed time. His speed over 180 miles an hour. Let's look again. They leave the starting line as if they're one. The front wheels come back to the ground. They are accelerating, pulling the levers on the planetary transmission. The cars with a bit of advantage here to Frank Iaconio. You can see just about a fender length. But the horsepower of the Ford of Bob Glidden comes on, and at the finish line, just inches. Bob